educator from the Kettering City Schools. She recently won the Outstanding Elementary Mathematics Educator for the state of Ohio by OCTM. The OCTM picks up 2 outstanding math teachers in each grade level each year, and she was one of the awardees in 2012 and was awarded and was honored at the OCTM conference about a couple weeks ago. And so she's here to present on a concept called bar modeling, which is a Singapore math concept. And so if you would help me in welcoming Miss Ann.
Okay, while I was there, they do a math teacher for elementary, a math teacher for high school, and a math teacher for college. And Dr. Wonka, he was awarded last year, but apparently they said he's out of the country, so he received his award this year, so it was really cool. I went to one of his sessions, and it was really, really fun. So, and lots of Miami people at the conference, which is really great. It's so well of your school. Okay, so my name's Ann Muth. I teach 5th grade math. I taught 5th grade math for a while. I taught a lot of other things as well, 4th grade especially. Love it. The big focus this year is going toward, they keep talking about Singapore math. How many of you guys are familiar if you're hearing about Singapore math in your classes and so forth? Okay, so it is a big push, and this is really a big push because you guys are all coming out into the workforce soon. And I will tell you right now, all the schools in our area, Kettering, Centerville, all the schools are looking toward Singapore math concepts. So it's really something you want to be familiar with. And I strongly, strongly believe in it. So just a real quick summary. Singapore, it's an Asian island country. Basically what happened was part of like the United Kingdom, part of their sovereignty or whatever. They gained their independence in 1965. They were basically left on their own. They really have no natural resources. It's just a small island country, lots of islands, lots of water. They had everything exported in and no natural resources. And so what ended up happening, they wanted to become a wealthy country, and they're like, how are we going to do this? Your education system wasn't great. And so what they focused on, the Ministry of Education, they focused on their natural resources of children. So they went around all around the world. They came to the US, they came to Germany, they went to all around the world and explored how people were teaching math. And what they did was pick the cream of the crop, the best of the best of all the math concepts, and they compiled it. And since they've been doing this, they take the TIMS test, which is Trends in International Math Science Study. Well, Singapore was just, kind of wherever. 1995 it hit, all of a sudden Singapore went way up there, and they've been in the top 3 since 1995. And everyone has started to take a look. Started taking a look a while ago. But what Singapore has going is pretty amazing. So all the new math concepts, especially with Common Core coming out, is really teaching deeper, not faster, and how to get there. And it is relevant for teachers K through 12, basically. So most of the things are pretty familiar, but one thing that Singapore came up with was a concept called bar modeling. And that's kind of relatively new for most teachers. So there have been a lot of teacher workshops on it. Are you guys familiar with bar modeling at all? Okay, so we are going to start with this problem. And I see you guys have paper, pencils, and I have extra pencils, paper if anybody wants. But I'm going to give you an example of a problem. Just go about some type of way that you would use to solve that problem.
Are you blind?
I have a pen.
Hold on. She's from you're from Kettering. What school should you go?
And if you do me a favor, don't look at these packets yet, if you don't mind. Hang on. Try not to look at the packets just yet. reason for my madness. How many of you guys have already solved this? You guys are still working?
I would stop. Oh, no, I did not. Right when it was still there. Right when she retired, right after my. But I remember everything.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I think your battery died. Looked like it was low when I was out there.
Okay, so you have to remember, these problems right now, I'm just showing you, starting working our way up and how it relates to algebra, okay? So giving a problem like this to a fourth grader, this is a fourth grade problem, it's hard for a fourth grader to solve this because if you think about it, they have not yet had multiplying fractions. If this is a problem they are expected to know how to do, okay? So with bar modeling, here's what we start doing. And actually before I show you that there's one other thing. Oops, sorry. Here's what I teach my kids. This is just a little mnemonic I use. It's railroad tracks don't cross. But it's read closely. And the big buzz right now is how you need to read closely. That's the buzz term going. But just reading closely and carefully, looking for meaning. So read closely, carefully. You have to reread and underline key points. Then you're going to reread and rewrite the questions into answer starters. We always talk about how you have to get your answer starter in there. Because it focuses you on what you really want to solve. You think and make a plan. I have a lead who out somewhere. Because we always talk about when you think. I'll get this out if they're trying to ask me, Mrs. Muth, what do we do? I'm like, think. Because they can do it. Draw models and make a diagram. And then they have to show their computations and label everything. Okay, so that's a little mnemonic that I have in my classroom. They have it in their math folders. So here's what we would start doing. Okay, the first thing we need to do is get our answer starter. So to rewrite the question, how much money did Mary have? Mary had blank dollars. Okay, simple enough, right? And then we start drawing a bar. And these are called uni bars. But I'm going to label it. Okay, this is the money. And I took one long bar, and I divided it into thirds. One of those thirds belongs to Betty. We want to label everything. The other 2/3 is what the remainder is. And going back through here, it shows us that they had $90 to start. So I'm going to put my total right here. The kids become very good at this. Okay, so then when we move on, I always have a place over here. We kind of draw a line here because I want to see all the computations. Everyone should always show their work of how they are getting there. Okay, so we're going to take 90 divided by 3, which is 30. And I know you guys are college students, so this is like way so simple for you. But you have to remember 4th graders, 9 and 10-year-olds. Okay, so we plug in the 30s. You're going to be doing this all in your math journals. And then what happens, we have to take that remainder. So a lot of people just want to say, oh, well, Mary had $60. A lot of them would do that quickly. But we have to take that remainder, and I took another bar the same size as the remainder. And then, because we're taking 1/5 of it, we divide it into 5 parts. Now, once again, a lot of kids would think, oh gosh, well, 1/5, oh, and they come up with 60 divided by 5, so 60 left, divided by 5 is 12, and they're going to throw up 12 right away if they don't have the answer starter. They have to go back and read the answer starters that, oh no, not Jill, it's Mary. Because if I label it Jill, it's just 1/5, Mary's the rest for the 5th, so that means she has $48. Okay, once again, very simplistic to you guys, very empowering for younger students because they can take these problems that are probably, if we did it with traditional algorithms, would be very difficult for them. So I'm going to give you another one so you should kind of see how it's done. Here's your second one. This is considered a particle. Okay, this is a second grade problem, first grade. This is second grade, so it won't take you long. So think of how you would use bars to draw it. That's the key. Did everyone get a mint? Did I have enough mints to go around? Just checking. Just let everyone be happy. Even if you don't get anything out of the session, you got a mint. Okay, so you're going to read, rewrite, get your bars. Okay, so if you're going to do this, first thing you're going to do is get your answer starter. And this is something we're teaching our kids from first grade, not yet, because they're really not writing like that yet. But starting with second grade, they are writing these in their math journals. First thing everyone does is writing their answer starters. And then they know to start drawing the bars.
When you started the math journals, did you do an example yourself first so that they knew what to do?
Yeah, and to be quite honest, this is the first year, well, first year for many of our students, second year for some students because a lot of us had math training last year on this. So a lot of kids, this is brand new for. So I really, for me, I started with third grade problems to start teaching it, and then we worked into it.
And like, what was their initial reaction to it?
Well, you know, it's interesting. The kids who are really pretty mathematically sound with number sense, they would just rather do it and shout out the answer and have it, without being able to go through and explain how. So I continually have to talk to them. Okay, if your boss gives you this project, and they want you to come up with the answer, but your boss isn't just going to trust your answer. Well, they probably will, but you have to give reasons why. You need to show your work how you got there. And so we kind of always put it back in the workforce context, and we talk about you need to prove it. So that's kind of always the steps that we go. So with second graders, this is once again a very simple problem. With second graders, you know, to start off with those generic bars, this is really still too hard for them. Are you guys familiar with unifix cubes? Yeah. Okay, key. It's a very important part. They should be out on the math tables at all times, basically. They can grab these math tools. But they're going to start with one. For second grade, this is the beginning of the year, they would actually take five of one and then 8 of the other, so they have to add some. And then you have to put them together and count to prove it, is what they would end up doing. For second graders, they don't use a regular line journal. They would draw everything on graph paper. So for a problem like that, you'd use about a size like this. Okay, since I'm getting into 5th grade, they can take a little more of the abstract, especially if they've had this before. And I just write it in regular lined journals. When I give them a problem, I always put it on just a journal like this or a regular spiral notebook. I usually type the problem on labels, just like mailing labels. So everyone takes a sticker, pops it in their notebook, and then they have it right there. They can underline their information. Saves a lot of paper, and that way we don't have to cut and paste, which drives me crazy after a while because there's scraps all over. So it's pretty neat and efficient. The second graders really still need that concrete, and then they can put it back down on the grid paper. Okay, so moving on then, they're going to show their computation. 8 + 5 is 13, and they're going to fill it in. Yeah, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just didn't know. What is the? I guess like, are you planning on like Kettering deterring kids from using calculators with these bar type ideas, or is this still? Do they still have a calculator next to them while they're doing this?
You know, that is a really good question. We still use calculators, and I don't think they're trying to get rid of calculators because, quite honestly, what do we all do if we don't even balance or checkbooks anymore because it does it online? But I mean, we all go toward calculators, and they need to use the tools appropriately when they have them, but they also have to know how to do it. It's another way of problem solving, though. Like if you just give them a worksheet of problems, it's really not doing a whole lot. You can cover a lot more teaching the how and the why while you're doing a bar modeling problem. But I still use calculators all the time in my classroom because not every problem lends itself to bar modeling. Some of them do. Okay, here's your third problem. I want everyone to try it. You ready? Okay, it's a little different. Still a second grade problem, a later in the year second grade problem. This is considered a part full problem. My 1 sentence being misstated. you to draw the bars. Key concept here. I can guarantee you, when you guys are out on those job interviews, they are going to ask you about math, and obviously you are all very focused on math. But they are going to ask you what you know about bar modeling. It's a pretty cute approach right now. We have all kinds of professional learning communities going on in our district where teachers are teaching teachers, like after school times, of how to do this, because a lot of these strategies are new. They're teaching number bonds. But it's really important, even if you're teaching at the high school level, to understand what the kids are doing when they come up to you and what strategies and skills they have. Okay, you ready? Okay, here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is David read blank books in the second part of the year. The kids are awesome at this. We have a section for computations. And then I draw a unibar again, and I'm going to label it, and I'm going to make my kids to label everything. Okay, these are David's books. The first part of the year, he read 24. Second part, we don't know what he had, and that's what we were trying to determine. So we put a question right there. Over on the side comes our total. So then we can look at it. Again, it's really simple for us. We can look at it, it's like, oh gosh, 24 plus was 59, or you can subtract. And the kids are going to come up with different ways, especially now that we're using a lot of these other approaches. They're going to use a lot of number bonds and different other types of ways to compute, which is kind of interesting. That's another week-long seminar. But anyhow, so they would come up with, I showed you that, $35. Pretty easy, right guys? Okay, so we're going to get into something a smidge harder. If 3/5 of the number is 27, what is the number? Go ahead and calculate, or compute, or draw a bar. This is a 4th grade problem. This is another particle concept. How many of you guys already have it? I have a feeling you guys probably got it in your head for the most part. Okay, if we're trying to think like a 4th grader, they're going to look at this, and originally like this would be like, I don't know, and then ask for help. And you guys have all heard the story of the study that they did, right? When they compared, actually these were Japanese students and US students, and they did a time trial. They gave them a really difficult test, okay? And they watched, and there were timers, and they were watching, and it wasn't a real test. They were just factored to see how long kids would stick with it. Okay, so the average time, they had an hour to take this test. The average time that the Japanese students would work on a problem that they got stuck on, it was just like one problem that was really, really difficult. They worked the entire time. They didn't give up. US students, any guesses as to how long? 33 seconds.
Oh my God.
Oh, too hard, I give up. And you know, and we really have to kind of make the kids think they can do this. And so, if I gave this to my kids now at the beginning of the year, they would have given up. They're like, we can't do this. I'm like, oh yeah, you can. And now they're getting to the point where they can start drawing. They're like, oh yeah. Or when you start showing them, they're like, oh my gosh, it makes so much sense to me. This really makes sense for the kids who struggle with number sense, because it's putting a picture with it. Because you need to go from concrete to pictorial to abstract. The kids who have computations down and number sense down, this drives them a little bit crazy if they have to show it, if they do need to show it. Okay, so what you can do, you take one long bar, and my title is just what is the number? I divided it into fifths because we wanted to know what 3/5 was. So once I divided it into 3/5, this part right here, I know 3 of those fifths is 27. And so what I have left was 18, because 27 plus 18 is, oh, I put too much in there, sorry guys. But anyhow, I could figure out, well, 3/5 is equal to 27, so that's 9 of them. And then when I filled in 2 9s over here, that's 18, so 27 plus 18 is 45. The number was 45. Okay. This is an additive comparison, the 2nd grade problem. as you read through it, think about what would second graders automatically do. What are they going to say quickly? 8. What are third graders going to say? 8. What are fourth graders going to say? 8. And guess what fifth graders will say? 8. If you don't make them write the answer starter, they find 2 numbers and you're like, oh, I know I have to add them because they are finding them all together. 8. And that's going to be their answer. And that's why, another reason why the answer starter is so important. Okay? So you guys have kind of seen the progression of it. So Leah and Lola have blank stuffed animals all together. If they write that answer starter, it does make them think how much they have all together. So we can make a bar for Leah, she has 5, so her total is 5. We can make a bar for Lola. This bar, the first bar has to match Leah's bar because they're the same amount. So 5 and 5, right? She has 3 more, so 5 and 3, which is a total of 8, so 5 plus 8 is 13. Once again, a simple problem. But if you force them to start writing it out, and they come to like it, they actually do like this. 5 plus 8 is 13, and you have a much higher success rate because you are forcing them to slow down. They're not having to have that instantaneous feedback. Does that make sense? Okay. Here's one. Oh, algebra. Go ahead and solve this one without using algebra. No algebra in your head either. Solve it without algebra. It's hard for us to do. Way. Fifth graders do have to learn that as well, although in Common Core they again won't need to know it. But that's a pretty hard concept for elementary, doing it algebraically. For us, it's pretty hard to not do it algebraically. But here's what we could end up doing. Deanna had blank books. So I just did Penelope. I put a little block for her, a use bar. Deanna had 3 times as many, so 3 of the same size, so 3 times. We know there's a total of 60. So when we go over here, there's a total of 60. I have 4 equal places. So 60 divided by 4 is equal to 15. Okay, if I didn't make the kids write the answer starter, do you know what their answer is? 15. Because they're like, oh, my answer is 15. And then they write that as their answer. They have to think about what their answer starter is. Deanna had how many books? It's going back, oh, Deanna, oh, no, she didn't have 15. She had 40 or 45. I should have shown that computation there. Okay? All right. Ooh. Just to throw in something fun. Since Thanksgiving's coming up, are you guys ready for the long break? I'm sure. I love it. I should have tried this yesterday. They got a chuckle. And then some of them turkeys had belly buttons. It was quite entertaining. Okay. There's a prize involved with this one if you can show it to me. The first 3 people who can show this to me using bars. This is a 5th grade problem right here. This is what we expect our 5th graders to know. These are not the kinds of tests that I was
Down.
33 seconds.
What?
We did go over it. That's around 9 all of our which is 8 points. Next one. CNC connect those. Where they all meet.
Maybe that back in front.
That's percent of mine was in the middle of the other figure. Pretty much. It was all about Dr. Cox. Pretty much the same thing.
Call it dead. But I feel like she was did call it dead.
Section A ended up being 24 minutes. Section B was 12 minutes. And Section C was 36 minutes for a total of 72 minutes for an hour and 12 minutes. And that is a fifth grade problem. I don't know that my fifth graders can handle this quite yet. We will get there. It's a building process. Okay, so I went to this math seminar over the summer. Here is an actual problem. Yep, Bonhart. He's like the guy from Singapore Math. He is with the Ministry of Education over there. He's amazing. By the way, I just have to throw this as an aside. As I'm researching Singapore a little more, because I'm like, it is really cool that they put their use their children as their natural resources and put all their resources toward their children. Anyhow, do you know 1 in 6 households is considered millionaires? Have $1 million in liquid assets, basically. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so they're very tech, very science, very math oriented. They're getting those high jobs, high paying jobs. Okay, so anyhow, he's at this conference, he's leading it, and this problem came up. And it's actually on their 6th grade exam, and I got so stuck. It was bugging the life out of me. And I'm trying to work on it and listen to him, work on it and listen to him. And to do this with bar modeling. I was trying to do it without bar modeling, and then after I did it with the bars, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't do that sooner. This is an interesting one. If you want to copy it down and work on it, you are welcome to, or just read through it. But this is a 6th grade problem. And a 5th grade math teacher really struggled with it. Also, this problem is verbatim. They teach English. All of their spoken language in school is English. And so they teach mathematics in English. It's one of their 4 main languages. They have to take English and what's considered their mother tongue. Do you have it?
No, I have a question.
Oh, you're a genius. It took me forever.
Yeah. In the first sentence, do you mean that they each individually have 260 suites, or that their sum is 260 and we're assuming that they each have an equal part?
The sum was 260.
And do they each have an equal part?
Oh no, they don't.
They don't have
They do not have an equal part. They have an equal amount at the end.
Okay.
And again, I did copy this problem verbatim. And English, it's interesting, if you read through, they have a lot of books available. Their English is not always the way we would write it. So some of the problems may seem odd, or like when they talk about the sweets instead of candies perhaps, there's some noticeable differences that way. Anyhow, so I worked on this problem. I couldn't wait for him to give the answer. Anyway, he's like, okay, I'm not going to give you the answer. You have to figure it out. So I'm going to let you guys figure it out. So it's a good one though. One more thing. I passed out those packets earlier. This is something you can do on your own free time. But it's kind of a nice progression, okay? These are just independent problems to practice. This is kind of how I went to a workshop, I got this, and kind of taught myself, I start working through these problems. There is a solution key at the back as well. But it's really helpful if you try to make the bars yourself first and see how it works out. So it starts off with second grade problems and gets progressively harder. Okay? Final thing. For those very precise engineering type people who really like everything precise. And a lot of my kids, it really bugs them when they have to write a bar, and you're going to find this if you're using this in your student teaching. For example, let's go back to the problem about David, okay? This really bugs a lot of kids to start with, because they're like, well, okay, the first part's 24, but I don't know if the second part's more than or less than, and if the bars aren't necessarily proportional, it bothers kids, okay? So what I have found, when the kids are getting older and they're getting larger numbers, it's another reason to get away from the graph paper. I mean, the graph paper helps them keep it neat. And I still have kids, I always have rulers in their toolboxes and the neat rulers. I still have a lot of kids that'll use a ruler to measure out the bars, and I'm okay with that. But when they're starting out younger, you're going to use Unifix cubes. You're going to graduate to the graph paper. A lot of kids sometimes will still put the graph paper out for certain problems, but they look at one bar as like having to be the same amount. So if these two pieces look exactly equal, so it's hard for them to understand that this could actually be more. So it's just something to think about. Any questions? If you guys don't put your, oh yeah.
Could we get a copy of the railroad track don't cross thing? Like, is that possible to send that out in like an email?
Absolutely. Who should I send it to?
You can send it to me or Kayla. You can send
Okay.
it to Kayla.
Perfect.
Since you have her email.
Yeah, I'll send that to Kayla, for sure. Yeah, no problem. I said PDF, okay? I do PDF. And another thing, especially if you guys are going to be student teaching soon, this book is one of the best books I've read in a long time. And the big stress is really talking about not just how to do something, you don't just teach the algorithm, but the why of it. And this is showing the why before the how. It teaches all about number bonds and how you start with the addition, the subtraction, number bonds for multiplication. And I guarantee when you go out to your schools, you're going to be hearing number bonds, or if you're not yet, you will be hearing them soon. It's all about number bonds, a lot of bar modeling. Great book by Jana Hasekamp. And if you need problems, this is like become my favorite. And I just copy them. You know, you can copy the pages, but something to think about when you're student teaching, put them off on labels. The kids can stick them in their math journals very quickly when you can work on them. Okay? And it's great for high school students too, for if you're teaching high school, because hopefully you can see how the algebra is related to the bars. Because if you have kids who are really not understanding that abstractness of the algebra yet, you can draw the bars to show them, to help build that foundation, to help build that understanding. Like when we did the problem with, what was it, books or whatever? This one down here. Because this is algebra for us. And a lot of kids, if they still don't get the concept, you can do it